special young guest I'd like to call up and wonderful young Southside Middle School young adults that have decided to have chosen to come and help us out. I'd like for them to introduce themselves, to say your name real quick, kiddos, and Lee, you're up, buddy. Lee Metcalf.
Ian Massey.
Hi, Ian. Hi, Jackson. Hi, Elizabeth.
All right, come on up here and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Lee, I like to ask. We'll do our roll call. Excuse me. I'm present. Dr. O'Neill.
Present.
Mr. Heater.
Present.
Mrs. Bales. Present. Mrs. Barnes-Griffin.
Present.
Mr. Irvin.
Present.
Mr. Lowe.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Hartley, you're up.
Well, thank you, kiddos. I appreciate your help tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Wonderful job. So, alrighty. And while they're getting ready, I'll just go ahead and start. I just have to commend my staff on this first 9 weeks or so of school. In general, we all know that education is pretty tough and challenging. And then you throw on top of that COVID and masks and social distancing. And I couldn't be more proud of the adults and the kids at Muncie Southside Middle School, from Tamika to Dawn, our two master teachers back here. It's just been phenomenal. And so they've done an outstanding job, and it's been a Herculean effort on their part. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud of them. So when I first came on board last summer, and I thought about Muncie Southside, one of the things that just resonated in my mind as just a personal goal, but also looking at the overall innovation plan, was putting learners first. And so that's kind of been the theme, looking for those opportunities for, I don't know what I'm going to, for our learners. So I wanted to start with, if you could, advance, please. Thank you. There we go. Right from the innovation plan, the pillar of social emotional learning has been one that I knew coming off of last spring that any kiddo, any adult was going to need to be a focus of what we do. So that's every adult in the classroom. We've got our ladies in the cafe who have done a fantastic job of making sure that breakfast is in the classroom every day for our kiddos. Just organizing that, the logistics of that has been, I couldn't have asked for a better crew to do that. And then the teachers' response to that. I know there was a little bit of apprehension. Anytime you do something new in a building, there's always a little bit of apprehension. But we all know how important breakfast is for our kiddos. So they've done a phenomenal job all the way up until now. We're starting, it started last week at Muncie Southside. Is every Monday evening we're providing meals for our virtual students or kiddos who are in school. So there's five days worth of meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so far between Muncie Central and Muncie South at two times, it's been about 170 families who have visited, give or take, across the 2 weeks. So you'll see our kitchen staff will be there, like last night out in the rain, from 4 until 6. So very proud of them. Our counselors, our behaviors coach, and also we have a BSU intern who's doing a fantastic job of helping us with behavior plans, behavior modifications to address some of those needs from our students. For example, today our professional development was specifically within the areas of second steps, which is a tier 1 social emotional across the board. We do that once a week. It's a lesson in one of our periods. Sorry, my mask keeps slipping down. And then ripple effect is something that we just started, we got about 3 or 4 weeks ago that we introduced to our staff today, which is a tier 2 intervention for kiddos who might need some behavior needs addressed, all kinds of different things, from addressing bullying, how to have positive peer interaction, those types of things. So we just rolled that out today. So where's the next slide? All right. And then the other thing that we have to couple with the social emotional is the academic piece. And so we do have students that are teaching and active learning as that pillar. And one of the things that's really helping us guide at Monkey South is the iReady data. So we're using the curriculum maps that we're working on. We're looking at, we're focusing on some of those assessments to kind of guide us in terms of direction. And looking at the beginning of the year data, we do have some work to do specifically. If I were to have a focus, it would be in comprehension, both instructional text and fiction text. But we have some wonderful folks back here that'll talk about just a little bit, talk about what they do for us, to help guide and do some professional development that way. Okay, so click it, kind of going all the way,
No, back.
back one, there we go. I just had them all come up at once. So, our mentor and master teachers, what that has meant in terms of support for the building, is bar none. These two ladies have, gone above and beyond, that they're innovative, they are there for the teachers, they are a solid, steady stream, of direct teacher support in the classroom. They do it one-on-one, they do it in large groups. Just today, they rolled out this wonderful professional development newsletter that's interactive. You click on them, teachers can kind of decide their area of interest, and they've been nothing short of phenomenal. I can't even tell you how many hours they put in to support the classroom. Oh, hundreds, literally hundreds of hours, and I know they do a lot on their own time too. So very appreciative of them. Project Lead the Way has been an amazing stream of curriculum at Muncie South. When I talk about opportunities for kiddos, that is one of the areas where we have been able, regardless of anything else, we've been able to integrate students, and they've been successful. Even in Mr. Jerome's robotics class, we have one of our life skills classrooms. They come in and they code, and the video didn't work, but the last slide was one of our young ladies who is in Mr. Folk's classroom, who coded all on her own, and she was showing it to me, and I just happened to record it to share with somebody else. But anyway, I will send Dr. Reynolds or Dr. K the link if you want to see, but it's absolutely heartwarming and amazing. The other thing that we've really focused on today is the cultural competency piece, and that also, like I said, that is very important to including or providing opportunities for all students. Within that, one of the things that we've been looking at, and these two ladies have been an integral part of that, is looking at kiddos who might have been overlooked in the past to have an opportunity in honors classes. So we have went through and we have looked at some of those kiddos, and just even this past week, we have moved a young man into an honors track, so to speak, into honors classroom. And so, and there are students of color, and we're very proud of that. We've also looked at, in that same vein, we've looked at our alternative ed classroom, and we looked at the makeup of that classroom, and we have, we started looking at the roster of what was coming in to start the school year, and we had approximately 10 kiddos slated for that. We looked at their profiles, we looked at their academics, we looked at their behaviors from past year, and we decided for about 4 of those kiddos that we were going to not start them there. We were going to put them out, and we did that, and they've been very successful. out to get out of that program. Our goal was to have 0 kids in our all ed classroom. And as of right now, all but one of our students who are in that are at least in one or more gen ed classroom where they are going out and they are operating on their own, and we're very, very proud of that. So then the last piece is student engagement, and I just want to brag specifically on one teacher. He would probably be upset with me, but if I said his name, but I'm going to, and that's Mr. Bradley. He's consistently finding ways to engage the kiddos in the classroom and go above and beyond in that. So that last picture I know doesn't show up very well, but he has them outside, spread out, doing some things that normally you would do in the classroom, but very engaging for the students. And so if you can just click through these are just specific examples of other places I wanted to brag on really quick that not necessarily something that I did specifically, but things that I think the teachers, once again, they are the ones that really make that building go. And that's Tamara Cargile there, and what she's doing is a product of some of the things that she learned in one of our PLCs, working with the students in the lab. The other is in Project Lead the Way. Once again, things that they've learned from their PLCs, examples of things that teachers have shared with kids in terms of cultural competency, looking at historical folks who share their wisdom, and then the last one, once again, was student engagement. That was our Panther race and robotics. And so very proud of the work that our teachers have done there. And so you can go ahead and click through all of these. It'll pop up on the same slide. There you go. So areas that I want us to continue to work on at Muncie South. Like I said, I don't want to paint a picture that everything is perfect. We still have a lot of work to do. But one of the things that's really important to me that I want to continue is working on student and teacher recognition. Those two things, focus on that positive. And then the next target that I want us to work on is just learning how to use that block schedule more effectively. Not that we're doing a bad job of it, but it's still new, and we're still learning, and we're still adapting. One of my other goals is parental involvement, involved in a positive way at Muncie South. That's super important to me, and we're reaching out and finding ways to do that in a COVID world. We're not quite where I want us to be, but once again, it is a work in progress. And then, of course, I always want our buildings and grounds to be a place where kids want to be and they can be proud of, and having some ownership in that. So we're working with some kiddos to come up with some ideas for things to do there. So that's Muncie South in a nutshell, the first 9 weeks of me being there, and welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Introduce who all's with you this evening.
So I have Anna Spencer and Kim Kowalski, and they are our master teachers, and they're the ones who are running our PLC meetings and really helping out a lot with our NIEP process.
So, any questions?
No, I would say we did the tour. We were there a couple weeks back, and just the culture, the changes, the progression, and the progress that we've seen, just in this short amount of time has been. Keep it up. Keep going.
So,
Keep hitting those targets.
I will tell you that as we progress, I'm a very straight shooter, and I'm very proud of the work we're doing. We still have a lot of work to do, but it is, and really I credit the teachers. We have some amazing young first-year teachers, and we have some amazing vets that without them, we wouldn't be able to make progress. And I can't thank them enough and praise them enough for the efforts that they're doing. Like I said, it is hard, but thank you so very much. And you're welcome to come anytime, unannounced too.
So Anna or Kim, do you have anything you wish to add this evening, or does anybody have any questions for The master teachers?
I told them they weren't allowed to talk.
Well, no, that's fine, that's fine. Overruled. Anything?
I just think that, we're feeling positive about the NIEP process, and we're starting tomorrow at the fourth round of TLC, and they've been very well received. We're working really hard on that development piece and taking that new learning and implementing that within the classroom. And I think for both of us, it's been very powerful to be able to work with teachers one-on-one in a small group setting, going into their classroom system in a variety of ways. So it's going well.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the three of you, and please take it back to your building. I know the past couple of weeks has been difficult as we've dealt with some quarantining folks. For the benefit of those watching, we've had one positive test, is that correct? But we've had teachers who've been in contact with individuals who've been exposed to COVID. And I know that it has been short-staffed and you've all had to toe the line as we've tried to cover. So I deeply appreciate the stress that that's caused and appreciate the commitment that the building has shown. I talked to Dr. Kwiatkowski really on a daily basis here for the past several days regarding the situation. So hopefully towards the end of the week we will be maybe in a little better circumstance. We'll adjust and adapt as needed. So back, and this can be for any of you, what's not going well? What can be done by the board to make your lives, your building, your students in a better position to accomplish the mission of MCS?
Sure. From my perspective, I appreciate the level and the openness and the accessibility of central office, that when we do say, hey, we have a need, or can you give us some advice, can you do that? Very, very accessible, very open to that. So what I would say is just continued support and understanding and a little bit of grace in the fact that we are working, especially teachers, we're working really hard, understanding that we're not perfect. But I think we are headed in the right direction. And once again, the teachers are working exceptionally hard. And that's what I would ask for, is just some continued understanding, a little bit of grace, and knowing that we are trying to fight the good fight.
Okay. You will have that, but if there are other items that you see you need to address weaknesses, certainly push that up the chain and deal with it. Mr. Heater, anything further? Anything further? Who are you?
Order.
No, we're not doing that right now.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, that's fine. We have media questions at the end.
Sorry, my bad.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's not bad. It's just a bit out of order. Okay, anything further?
If I could real quick, and because I don't want to grace over the work that Deb Houston does with the pantry, can I just throw some quick stats out and then I'll bow out gracefully?
Sure.
So we've had over 60 kiddos visit the den this year. Students with new shoes and socks, new winter coats. We've sent out over 1,500 backpacks over the course of the 9 weeks, 150 backpacks during fall break for food for the entire week, to include frozen meats and things like that. Total 160 kids on the backpack program, and it keeps going up. We almost have the whole school on the backpack program at this point. 10 of the kids, we have 10 kids in virtual who are coming every week to get a backpack, and we provided about 50 food, that's a week's worth of food for 10 families, and we're currently working for Christmas donations right now, so the kids have Christmas. And we
Okay.
have some community partners too that have come alongside us, so they just
Great.
never want to.
Latasha?
Houston and the work she does.
Yeah, thanks. It's amazing in there. I went walking in there and seeing all, it's pretty cool. She's got a well machine going.
Yes.
Marie, and the clinic, how Are we
Yeah.
seeing numbers there? And is there like a flu palooza or
Yeah,
something
Flu
today?
Palooza's going on
Today? Oh.
They got a tent set up out back, and so it was, I think it's about finished now. It started about 8 this morning, and we're working really hard. We'll have them in the building. That's one of the places where we're learning how to get better, having that partnership. But it's been great. The communication between them and us, I feel, has been open and flowing, and if I got a need, they've been there, and if they got a need, I try to accommodate them. I'm glad they're there.
Any additional questions from the board? I should be more clear. Thank you for everything you're doing at Southside. So we will move on in the agenda. Thank you again. Sir, Mr. Klotz will get with you on those questions you may have before the end, and he can get them back to you. I did not mean to be rude about that. It just was shocking. So, Jason?
Take this off third presentation today, so it's kind of difficult to do it.
No, that's fine.
Not on this subject at all. My mask fear is an actual thing. Good evening, and I want to thank you all for the opportunity to give you a short update on some of the work that the Boys and Girls Clubs of Muncie has been doing to support our kids and our community throughout the COVID pandemic, and to talk a little bit more about a new program that we started running yesterday to respond to some of the needs of the families in Muncie. On Friday, March 13th, Muncie Community Schools made the very difficult decision to close to in-person learning for our students. You worked very hard to figure out a way to continue to provide food, support, and learning opportunities for our kids. Understanding that there were still parents who needed to leave the home to continue to work, the YMCA of Muncie and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Muncie stayed open to find a way to care for those kids who needed us most at a time that they needed us most. We provided care for our kids, connectivity to virtual classrooms, and continued to provide out-of-school time programming for our young people. We all thought this was going to be like 2 to 4 weeks, but it's been a long 7 months. Muncie Community Schools has been doing an amazing job transitioning to in-person and virtual learning opportunities for our children. But for many of our kids, virtual learning is not an option, or it's not, for many, an ideal option. So I'm proud to announce that through the generosity of 2 of our partners, we've been able to open a virtual learning site, which opened yesterday. What we're doing is we are creating small group classrooms at the downtown YMCA. These classrooms will be capped at 10 to 15 children, depending on the classroom size, and will provide access to Muncie Community Schools' virtual learning program, as well as assistance to our kids with that work. Many of our families need to get back to work, and this will provide another safe opportunity for them to do so. For those families who are still able to work from home, as I'm sure the last speaker can attest, teaching is hard. I've done it, and it is not something that is easy to do, and it is not something that many of our parents are trained or able to do. School has changed a lot since we were kids, and I know the way that I learned math is not the way our kids are learning it today, and I actually had to go back to school to learn how to teach second graders math. A little bit embarrassing, but I'm okay with it. This program will give our kids that assistance. I want to make clear we are not trying to replace the work that the schools are doing. What we are trying to do is simply working to support the hardworking teachers and families who are doing this virtual teaching and our families who need more choices. We've hired a completely separate staff to run this program so that we can ensure that there's no potential cross-contamination between the children who are going to in-person schooling and coming to the clubs or the YMCA and children who are doing the virtual learning. From 7:30 in the morning till 6 p.m., we will provide care and programs for kids who need us. We will provide meals through the YMCA and as long or as short a day as parents need. If parents only need their children to come for the virtual learning program, they are allowed to do so. For our high school students, we are allowing them to come in to do their work, and as long as it is okay with their parents, leave and go back home. And they will still get the assistance of our staff with that work. The cost to our families, and this is not just for current members, is our annual $15 per year per child membership fee. We are not charging one dime more for this program. This program is not a housing spot for children who are required to quarantine due to a positive test in their classroom. We thought long and hard about that. We did not want to put any family in danger. It is only open to children who are currently enrolled in Muncie Community Schools virtual learning program. Now, if around Thanksgiving we still have openings, we may open it up to some of the county schools, but for now, we wanted to give first right of passage to children in Muncie Community Schools. We have committed to run this program throughout the academic year, or at least as long as the academic year includes virtual learning as a possibility for our families. Obviously, a program like this cannot be run on our own. And so I do want to call out just two of our two partners on this. The United Way of Delaware, Henry, and Randolph County has provided the funding and support for this program. And the YMCA of Muncie is providing a safe space, meals, internet access, and I was just told as we were walking into the building, a free Y membership for the children and our staff, which is huge. So thank you for that. So what can Muncie's community schools do to help? And we've sent these information packets out to our current families and to all of the school buildings. But obviously a physical flyer going home to families that are currently in Muncie Community Schools is not reaching the audience that this is intended for. So if there's some way that we can share this information out with the families who are part of that programming, or if some of the virtual teachers can reach out to us and say these children are either absent or having a difficult time with this program, that's really who we're intended for. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to present this program to you today. And Jennifer Gillen, the Executive Director of Youth Development for the YMCA, and I are pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Jason? First of all, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. This is really going to be helpful, I think, to those of our families who have elected the virtual option.
Right.
And we will work with you to communicate with those students who are on the virtual program to ensure that they're made aware of this opportunity for additional support. And I was just talking to Leanne about it, so we'll figure out how to communicate with those folks. And thank you to the Y as well. I just think it's amazing. This is a perfect example of why Muncie is such a special place, and you know the commitment that you two organizations and our other partners have shown to MCS over the course of the past several months has been nothing short of remarkable. So on behalf of the board, thank you.
Jim, I was at the Y at lunch today. Did we have maybe 3? Okay. I didn't know, but I saw what was happening. It was awesome. Kids had their headphones on. They were going through this. It was great. So.
Yeah. They can call, parents can call the club or the YM.
Yes, so this program is being run through the Boys and Girls Clubs of Muncie. So you can go to our website, www.bgcmuncie.org, and right on the front page is the enrollment form. Or they can call 765. I went with a Manhattan number there. I've been calling my dad a lot lately. 765-282-4461 for more information.
And Jason, if we get this electronically, we have ways that we can send it to each of our families in the virtual learning program?
Absolutely, yes. And yes, this flyer is on our website. I also did include just some information on the work we've been doing with our kids since January 1st of 2020.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you again. Okay. Andy, do we have any public comment?
No, nobody signed up.
Okay. Thank you. We will move on to the consent agenda.
Or do you want me to do mine?
Oh, I'm
Let's do
sorry.
things. That's okay.
I'm
That's okay.
in front of myself. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, I first want to say happy birthday to Brittany Bales, 29 years old today, or young today, right, Brittany? So we really appreciate your service. Happy birthday. A few updates with our community partners. Muncie Community Schools, we are so grateful for our community partners, and we would not be able to do what we're doing without them. On Saturday, Classroom Connections held a teacher supply drive, and 63 of our teachers participated. I understand they went home with a trunk full of supplies for classrooms. We also received a generous grant from the Ball Brother Foundation. We were just notified last week for $470,000. Some things that will be covered: hotspots for our families, the Muncie Community Schools, Ball State University Social Studies Initiative, enhancements to Camp Adventure, extracurricular support, so that is with uniforms or our mascot. We know our mascot is put together with pins and needles and Band-Aids. We know that we need a new website and some branding, and the funds will help us be able to accomplish that, and also enhancements to our CTE programs. So that is just a high-level overview, but we are just very grateful to the Ball Brother Foundation. We also are working on an RFP with the George and Frances Ball Foundation for a home visit program for our virtual learning program students. And so while it's great that we'll have opportunities for them to go and get some assistance at the club, we know we have some students that we're having a hard time getting them to connect. They may not be answering phones or doors or getting online, so we need to get them engaged. So George and Frances Ball Foundation will provide some assistance, a one-on-one match for us to be able to get some support to help with that. Yesterday, I participated with Caleb on a WebEx with the area superintendents, and he highlighted the MAC and our CT programs. He highlighted the dual credit opportunities, the certifications, and he just did an excellent job. And with that, he highlighted that I don't know if you've watched the news, but we have a veteran who, John Holliday is his name, and his home was condemned and he was going to become homeless. And so Jeremy Penrod, who is our construction trade teacher, along with the VA's Nate, and I can't remember Nate's last name. Jones. They collaborated for how we would be able to provide assistance. And our students, they've been out there, the house was torn down, they've rebuilt, framed it, they've put the drywall up, and by Christmas, they hope to have him back in his home, and our students will continue doing projects there. So what a great way for our students to learn how to be able to serve the community, and they're feeling very good about it. And then the last staff recognition, Jeff Howard is one of our teachers at the Youth Opportunity Center, and Anderson University just provided a Distinguished Alum Award, and they recognized him for the work that he's done at the Youth Opportunity Center with the students there. So we're always proud of our staff, and so I just wanted to give a shout out to Jeff.
Okay, anything further? Any questions for Dr. Kwiatkowski? Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. We have items A through G. Want to highlight a couple of items. Want to recognize 3 retirements. We have our own Chief of Security and Operation who has done so much for us through the years, Chuck Hensley, who is retiring, it looks like December 31st, 2020. So, Chief Hensley, thank you. We have Regina Hyatt, a 6th grade teacher at Northside Middle School, and Michelle Sebastian, a guidance counselor at Central. So between the three of them, we have about 78 combined years of service. So we'll recognize Ms. Hyatt and Ms. Sebastian. So congratulations to them. We are hiring a new teacher. Is Jessica here by chance? Doesn't look like it. Longfellow Middle School. Want to take a moment and again, following up on Panther Pantry, on donations during the month of, since September 11th until the 20th, it looks like we have donations of almost $5,100. So again, that continues to be a wonderful program. And then we have a series of donations from individuals. Is Ann Kwiatkowski related to you?
She's my sister-in-law.
So thank you to Ann Kwiatkowski, who donated 500 masks to Muncie Community Schools. We have a cash donation from Michael Seldamridge, and then the Panther Pantry of almost $6,100. So thank you to all those who have kept MCS in their plans for donations. Any questions concerning A through G?
No, but I also want to say thank you to Chuck Hensley. Chuck and I graduated from Muncie Central in 1973. So Chuck's worked about 10 jobs every year in his life. You're going to drop out one and still work about 9 more probably. No. And Michelle Sebastian was the guidance counselor for my 3 children. She did an excellent job. She was really good. So thank you. Yeah.
1973, huh?
1973.
Okay. Anything further? Move approval.
I wasn't born yet.
We know Brittany.
Brittany could be my daughter. She's young enough. Yeah.
Anything further? Would entertain a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Show it passed. Dylan Phelps, the MCS Revised Employee Handbook.
Yes, good evening, everyone. The Muncie Community Schools Employee Handbook is designed to provide employees with important information regarding employment policies, procedures, and benefits, as well as employee and employer responsibilities. The MCS Employee Handbook has been extensively, with a capital E, revised to be more inclusive for all of our employees. We used to have 2 separate handbooks, one for support staff, one for certified, so we've combined both into one, which I think is going to be a lot more user-friendly than in the past. The handbook contains language for all employees, including teachers, support staff, and administrators. We worked extensively with attorney Amy Fox, who performed a comprehensive review of the document. She also had some of her colleagues take a look at the document as well. At this time, I am requesting the board to approve the newly revised employee handbook.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Phelps? Presumably with the adoption of this handbook, we are superseding the previous amalgam of paper
Yes.
and different
Yes.
policy locations. So everything that exists, and are we making an effective date of what, today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're going to get it out. We're going to have it sent out electronically to all staff. We're also going to have some hard copies in each building. Just about 10 or 15 in each building, just in case somebody can't get to it electronically.
And presumably we'll have perhaps some educational sessions over the course of the next couple months.
Absolutely.
Just making
And of
sure we
course,
orient our folks.
You know, our people are very good at calling us and ask any questions that they also have.
Yeah.
So how frequently will we update this? Is there like a 5-year rotation, or is there any rule of thumb?
It hasn't been.
Hasn't been?
No,
Okay.
the last time it was updated was about 5 years ago.
About 5, okay.
But it was, as I understood what had happened 5 years ago, it was really a tack on maybe some changes. There was no fundamental review as we've
No.
done this time.
No.
So, I mean, ideally, you would take a look at it every 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3.
And make certain that we're not continuing just to lump policies in response to individual circumstances.
And then the handbook is connected to board policies. Perhaps if there's any kind of code that we have to abide by, of course, we have 1315. But those are the kinds of things that may make some changes if the board policies, because this is connected with that.
Okay. Any additional questions?
Jim, I move approval.
Okay, been a moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Thank you. I want to thank Dylan and everybody in administration, as well as the folks at Church Hiddle. This has been a long project, so thank you for pulling that together.
Really well done.
Dr. Reynolds, how are you?
Great.
Be quiet over there tonight. You've got a student and family handbook for us.
Yes, we, bringing for approval tonight, our newly created virtual learning program, Student and Family Handbook. Once we knew we were going to have a completely online option for our families, we knew that we needed some guidance to send home to families, so we immediately started compiling some exemplar examples of other districts or other even corporations, educational corporations that had put these together. And we started building immediately, and then building the program took precedent over building the handbook. So it really worked out for the best, because we included some things that we might not have included previously without having some weeks of experience under our belts. Just as an FYI, the handbook was created from input from the VLP teachers and an independent virtual learning consultant, our administrators, both for the program here at central office and at the buildings. And then we solicited parent feedback from a VLP survey, a couple of VLP surveys that we have sent home over the course of the year. Like our new student and family handbook that we produced this summer for the Muncie Community Schools, we focused on a readiness to learn and how to best prepare our students to learn in this handbook. And I think that you'll find that, I hope that you found that when you reviewed the handbook. So just a few highlights. It talks about the program vision and goals, the student, family, and resources, and the tiers for readiness to learn, and levels of support and responses for our students. So I'm asking for approval tonight that we can get this officially approved and launched.
Any questions for Dr. Reynolds? Okay, I would move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay, we'll show this. Thank you for everybody who put work into this. Unfortunately, I suspect this reality is going to be with us for a while yet, so I think it's good to have guardrails. We have administrator and staff compensation coming up, and just to lay the groundwork for this, we did faculty compensation in April with a commitment to revisit administrator and staff compensation following the ADM count in September. The CEO compensation committee consisted of Mr. Heater, Mrs. Barnes-Griffin, Dr. Kwiatkowski, and Mr. Jerome, and myself. So, Mr. Jerome, or is this going to be Dr. Kwiatkowski? Dr. Kwiatkowski, would you like to present?
Sure. So our goal is always to be competitive with districts around us and to be able to recognize our staff for the great work that they do. And we also know that we have inequities within the current structure that we had. So we tried our very best to be able to address some of those inequities. Like teacher salaries, we're making adjustments, and it's going to take us multiple years to get the salaries where we want them to be. But we felt, very, very proud of the work that we did by looking, at our support staff and our administrators. With our support staff, we were able we recognized trying to be able to bring up the amount of our classroom assistants so that we can maintain them in our classrooms was extremely important. And we also looked at our financial projections, and Brad assured us that he felt very comfortable with the amount for the raises. Just to note, we had a few outliers. We had our director of special education, we've given her a couple additional roles that she's been responsible for. In addition to special ed, she has gifted and talented, and now with our strategic plan, she also is responsible for the social and emotional learning pillar. And so we knew that we needed to recognize her, not just for the work she's done, but for the additional responsibilities that we gave to her. We also have a licensed athletic trainer that was not competitive within the salary range at all, and that was something that we also needed to address. Jim, do you want to talk about, through our conversations, do you want to add anything?
Sure. The committee, in coming up with the compensation recommendations that are contained in attachment number 96, which are before each of the members of the board, reviewed this several times with the administration, with Dr. Reynolds, Mr. Jerome, Mrs. Phelps, as well as others within this building, as we sought to, again, remain competitive for purposes of attracting educational leaders, and also at the staff level being certain that we were making certain to adjust compensation for those folks who support us every day and support our students every day in delivering, in my opinion, the best education available in this region. The total, we'll go back for just an instant to April. The total financial impact of the raise or adjustment to compensation for the faculty in April was in excess of $600,000. The cost for the financial impact for raises to support staff is approximately $100,000, and the cost financial impact for raises to administrators is approximately $59,000. So that, I think, lays the groundwork for where we are today. We're very pleased that enrollment has stabilized. We are pleased with our leadership and administration at all levels, and we're certainly very pleased and grateful for the support that we receive across the district from those who have been with MCS even just a few months, so particularly during these times. I will ask Mr. Heater or Mrs. Barnes-Griffin if they have anything additional to add at this time from the committee.
You covered it fine.
Okay.
I put the same, covered it all.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
So I guess before I ask you to make a motion, I also want to mention that this will be retroactive for this current
Correct.
school year, 2020 through 2021. HR will be reaching out and sharing with support staff and administrators what their increase, the compensation will be for them. And so I just make a recommendation to approve the compensation increases for the 2020-21 school year for support staff and administrative employees.
And the motion should be retroactive for this school year, and it also is subject to revisions to those administrators' contracts who have written contracts. Mm-hmm. One final note, in an effort to address recruitment of our school resource officers last year, Their hourly compensation was adjusted in 2019 from $17 per hour to $20 per hour, or a 18% raise at that time. In addition, those SROs who are full-time with MCS are now eligible for benefits, including vacation days and personal days. And that adjustment for 2019 was intended to cover the current year as well, again, to address recruitment issues at that time. So with that, do I hear a motion? Okay, we have a motion from Mrs. Bales.
Second.
Second from Mr. Lowe. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Motion carries. Dr. Kwiatkowski?
Jim,
Yeah.
I think it'd be good as a directive from the board to make sure that we communicate the appreciation to staff and administration. You know, we know teachers are critical to education, but I think as Corey said, when we've toured buildings and you see the quality of what is being done with sometimes inferior buildings, and the efforts that are being made by people who do care deeply, even if they're not in the classroom, is very appreciated.
Okay, absolutely. So, on behalf of the board, we would express our deepest appreciation to the leadership at all levels of MCS. We have been, incredibly impressed by what we have seen at all of the schools during our visits this year. We understand, I think, and appreciate the challenges that our leaders are operating under. And so thank you to them. And then for all of our staff members who are reflected on our rosters, many of us know each of them personally in various other capacities. Likewise, thank you from the board. Your support for our students, for our teachers, for our administrators to this board is without parallel. And again, we are deeply appreciative about the devotion that people show to Muncie Community Schools. Until I took this role in I guess, July of 2018, I don't think that I had a sense of the level of feeling and passion that the vast majority of folks who work at Muncie Community Schools put into their jobs every day. So thank you very much on behalf of the board. So with that good news, we will go to Mr. Jerome for a financial report.
Yes, just real briefly, in your board packet, you have the financial notes for September of 2020. It's hard to believe we're in the final 3 months of this particular calendar year. And in any event, we're still receiving our money and our state revenue from the state of Indiana. It'll be reflected once they finalize and reconcile our final student ADM count. Any changes to our student revenue for the state basic grant would be reflected in the months of November and December for the latter part of this calendar year. Right now, it's always good to receive the state basic grant every month. Still expecting to be in a surplus position for our education fund at the end of this calendar year. Right now, we had roughly almost $25 million in our overall cash balance at the end of September. And we have, of course, started to pay back our state loan at $50,000 a month, starting here in July of 2020. And that's a payback of 2020 through 2028. So still trending the correct way and the correct direction on that, as well as still anticipating finishing in a surplus position where our revenue will be higher than our expenses for 2020 in our education fund. So the operation fund, as we've talked about before, that's always the one that takes the full hit of the tax caps. And if you remember, a month ago, we cut our appropriations in 2020, still expecting to spend in the operation fund just a little bit over $13 million or so in that particular fund, but still expecting to have a positive balance of funds in operation funds. So really, that's my main highlights that I have for the September. Obviously, we get to the end of December, that's the final snapshot for the year.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jerome? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve the financial reports.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll show that financial reports are approved. Want to take a moment and thank Brad and his crew in the CFO's office. When we started in 2018, I think our State Board of Accounts audit, if my memory serves me correctly, we had somewhere between 27 and 30 exceptions in that first audit. And we had our final exit report on our SBOA audit this week. And Brad, my memory is we had 4 this week. Is that right? One. See, I gave you the chance to correct me. We had 1 exception. So we went from high 20s to 1. So thank you to you and your staff. Please convey to them, because I know that they work closely with you and we appreciate it. Is there any dialogue or future recommendations today? Okay. Media questions. Shoot.
Sorry about the earlier.
No, that's fine. I apologize for being abrupt, but you just shocked me.
My name is Alex Schmidt. I'm from Boston, with the Daily News there.
Okay.
Doing a legal for you, and I would just like to ask, earlier there was a report on what the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA are doing to help virtual learning. I was just wondering, what would be, I don't know, like the board's maximum commitment for them?
Financial commitment?
Yeah.
I believe this has been funded by local foundations, so we don't, MCS is, this is one of the wonderful things about this community is we do have the benefit of some very generous local foundations, and I believe they're funding it.
Did you say, Jason is still here, you say United Way?
It's United Way has funded the startup and will go through the end of the year.
Okay.
We've applied for a larger bill of funding in case we need to expand it to a larger building. And if not, this is a Boys and Girls Club program, so we fundraise for everything we do. We're not asking the school for funding for this program.
But you might include in your article that the United Way will, or pardon me, the United Way campaign is underway. And also Boys and Girls Club, in addition to being a United Way agency, I'm sure you'll accept a donation.
Oh, absolutely. Cash, check, credit card.
All right, and this is a bit off the subject, but you don't have a blackout period anymore, do you? During the United Way campaign?
To run a campaign, we don't run a campaign during their opening month, but we are allowed to accept them.
Accept them, okay. Okay, that's all they are allowed to accept right now. So, anything additional?
Nope, that's about it.
Did you had a question for Dr. Sharp, maybe we can answer that.
It'd be fortunate to follow up for him through his.
Okay, if you want to work through Andy, he'll get that to you. Okay, anything further before we wrap up? Okay, move to adjourn. Oh, wait, one final thing. Thank you to Mr. Farber's art class at Northside Middle School for our mugs. We've been mugged and really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Farber, and your students as well. Mr. Heater loves his mugs.
Mine's purely homemade. I love it. I absolutely love that.
In 8th grade art, I made my mom a massive ashtray. Of course,
Forward-thinking, that was forward.
well, she's no longer with us.
Well,
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Wonder why. Huge ashtray.
Here's your ashtray.
massive extra. I feel like I may have contributed. So, okay, on that note, thanks. Have a good evening,
We have a
everybody.
motion?
Yeah, we're good. Show me moving and Mr. Irvin seconding.
Great job, everybody. Have a happy birthday.
Happy
Celebrate
birthday.
tonight.
Oh, with my mug? Sure. Great.